Cholesterol. You've heard that word a million times, right? It's on food labels, it's in your doctor's reports, and let's be honest, it almost always sounds like a bad thing. But what if I told you the real story is so much more complicated and way more interesting than that? We're going to peel back the layers on one of the body's most, and I mean most, misunderstood molecules.
So let's just ask it straight up. Is cholesterol the bad guy you think it is? For decades, it's been painted as public enemy number one for our hearts. But is it really that simple? In this explainer, we're going to uncover the truth. We're going to find out that cholesterol has a surprisingly heroic side, and we'll pinpoint the exact moment it can turn into a real danger. Okay, so before we get into all the drama, we have to understand what this molecule even is. And you know what? Its main job might totally surprise you. It's not a villain at all. In fact, it's an absolutely essential building block for our very existence. That's right. Every single cell in your body has cholesterol and needs this waxy, fat-like stuff to function. It's not some kind of toxin that invades us. It's a fundamental part of our biology. Actually, a fun little fact. The name comes from the Greek words for bile and solid, because scientists first discovered it as a solid crystal in gallstones. Kind of weird, right? So what does it actually do? Well, think of cholesterol as one of the hardest workers in your body. First off, it's like a master architect for your cells. It makes sure their outer walls, their membranes, have just the right amount of stiffness and flexibility. Second, it's the starting point for some of our most critical molecules. We're talking stress hormones, sex hormones, and even vitamin D. And third, you literally couldn't digest food properly without it. Your liver uses cholesterol to make bile, which breaks down all the fats you eat.
Okay, so if cholesterol is this amazing, vital thing, where in the world did it get such a bad reputation? Well, here's the twist. The secret isn't in the cholesterol molecule itself. The whole story of good versus bad cholesterol comes down to one simple thing: how it gets around your body.
Here's the basic problem. Your blood is mostly water, and cholesterol is a type of fat. And what do we know about oil and water? They don't mix. So for cholesterol to travel through your bloodstream, it needs to be packaged up into these little transport vehicles called lipoproteins. And this, right here, is where the plot thickens. The easiest way to think about it is like this. You've got two main types of delivery services. First, there's low-density lipoprotein, or LDL. That's your delivery truck. Its job is to ship cholesterol out from the liver to all the cells in your body that need it. Then you have high-density lipoprotein, or HDL. That's the cleanup crew. HDL goes around, picks up any excess cholesterol lying around, and hauls it back to the liver to be disposed of. Both are totally necessary, but things get messy when the balance is off. And this is the single most important thing to get. When you hear people talk about bad cholesterol and good cholesterol, they're not talking about two different types of cholesterol. The cholesterol molecule inside is exactly the same. It's all about the carrier it's riding in, the delivery truck versus the cleanup crew. It's the transporter, not the cargo, that matters. So what happens when you have way too many delivery trucks on the road and not nearly enough cleanup crew to handle the overflow? Well, this is exactly where cholesterol's heroic story can take a very dangerous turn. It all starts when there are just too many of those LDL delivery trucks cruising through your bloodstream. See, when your cells have all the cholesterol they need, they basically put up a no delivery sign. But the trucks, they just keep on coming, circling around with their cargo and nowhere to drop it off. And here's where things start to go really wrong. Those extra LDL particles can actually sneak into the walls of your arteries. Once they're in there, they can get damaged or oxidized, and that oxidation sets off a huge alarm bell. Your immune system rushes in, thinking it's fighting an invader. But these immune cells just end up gobbling up so much of the bad LDL that they turn into these puffy, useless things called foam cells. Over time, all this gunk, the foam cells, cholesterol, and other debris builds up into a hard substance called plaque. And that whole nasty process is called atherosclerosis. And believe me, this plaque buildup isn't harmless. As it grows, it makes your arteries narrower and narrower, kind of like a clog in a pipe. If this happens in the arteries that feed your heart, it's called coronary artery disease, and it can lead to a heart attack. If it happens in the arteries going to your brain, it can cause a stroke. And if it's in your arms or legs, that's peripheral artery disease, which is incredibly painful. And, just to show how much this is all about balance, it's worth pointing out that having extremely low cholesterol can also be a problem. It's much less common, for sure, but since it's so vital for our hormones and brain cells, super low levels have been linked to some pretty serious health issues, too.
So after all that, here's the most important question. How do you manage this delicate balance? The good news is there are really powerful ways to take control, from medical treatments to simple changes you can make every single day.
Now, on the medical side, there are a few main types of drugs. You've probably heard of statins. They're the most common. Basically, they tell your liver to just chill out and produce less cholesterol. Then you have absorption inhibitors. These guys work in your gut to block cholesterol from food from getting into your bloodstream. And then there are newer, powerful drugs called PCSK9 inhibitors that supercharge your liver's ability to pull that bad LDL right out of your blood.
But listen, medication is not the whole story. Not even close. While it can be an absolutely critical tool for some people, the real foundation for managing cholesterol is built on your daily habits, what you eat, and how you move your body. That's your first line of defense. So what should you eat more of? Well, soluble fiber, the kind you find in oatmeal, beans, and apples, is amazing. It acts like a sponge in your gut, soaking up cholesterol and carrying it right out of your body. Healthy fats, like from olive oil and avocados, are great. And omega-3s from fatty fish, like salmon, don't just help cholesterol, they're great for reducing other fats in your blood, too.
And on the flip side, what should you eat less of? You want to limit saturated fats, which you find in things like red meat and full-fat dairy, but the absolute worst offender? Artificial trans fats. This is the stuff in a lot of fried and processed foods. It's so bad for you, it raises your bad LDL and lowers your good HDL, that it's actually been banned in many places. And, of course, we have to talk about exercise. If there's one number to remember, it's this one, 150. That's the minimum number of minutes of moderate exercise, like a brisk walk, that's recommended per week. That's just 30 minutes, 5 days a week. It's totally doable, and it has a fantastic effect on raising your good HDL and lowering your bad LDL.
And finally, a few other big ones really round out the picture. Maintaining a healthy weight is huge. Quitting smoking gives an incredible boost to your HDL levels, and keeping alcohol consumption in check helps manage your overall blood fats. It all works together.
So you see, cholesterol isn't some simple villain. It's a hero, an absolutely essential molecule doing critical jobs for you every single second. The story of its downfall is never about the fact that it exists. It's always about balance. It's a story of transportation. Too many delivery trucks and not enough cleanup crew. That's what turns this life-giving substance into a potential health risk.
Understanding this dual role, this hero and villain story, is the first and most important step. The next step is yours, taking control through the choices you make every day. So the real question I want to leave you with is, knowing all this now, how are you going to manage your body's most misunderstood molecule?